We can't embrace atheism and secularism.
You can't because you're a twerp.
Do you believe the conservatives should or should not embrace the more secular and atheist movement? Because as I see it, the secular idea of just do what you want, whatever makes you feel good, just do it.
That's not a secular idea.
It has led the way to the destruction of our morals and standards.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, so you're taking softball questions. Good to know.
I mean, if we were to abandon our most deeply held beliefs because we just worry about the trend line on voters or demographics or something.
Hey, how about because of evidence and reason? You're saying a lot more about yourself, Mikey, than you are about other people.
No, of course not. We can't embrace atheism and secularism. One, sure, from the practical standpoint that the political effect of those things has been all the destruction we see around us.
Destruction? Secularism created the whole of modern society. Back when your religion was in charge, most people lived in oppressive squalor and humanity barely inched forward. Since we began discarding those ideas and moved towards the Enlightenment, a mindset of religious skepticism, individualism, and capitalism, we vastly improved the world by leaps and bounds. We eliminated smallpox and cured all sorts of diseases, something your prayer could never do. We built skyscrapers and it didn't end up like that stupid Tower of Babel story. By every conceivable metric, people are living longer, healthier, happier, and more fulfilling lives. Your religion thrives on dehumanization by convincing everyone that we're really miserable, there's something wrong with us just because of how we're born, and only your psychotic mythology holds the answers.
And so if we pursue a political program on the premise that God does not exist, if we get the most basic fundamental thing wrong, then nothing else we say is going to make sense.
Except when we did discard God from our scientific understanding, we put men on the moon. When we discarded God from our economic lives, we conquered starvation. And those of us who discard God from our personal lives tend to have much better life outcomes, including a greater net worth, less criminal activity, and greater levels of self-empowerment.
I mean, look, I was an atheist for 10 years.
No! We are not doing the bullshit statement of conversion. Skipping.
I mean, the country is premised on the idea that there is a God and he endows us with certain rights.
Show me where in the Constitution it says that, or shut up. In fact, nowhere in the Constitution does it even mention God. Religion only comes up twice. Once to say that it shouldn't have anything to do with the government, and another where it says no religious test shall ever be a requirement for holding office. And if you're gonna bring up the Declaration of Independence, that's not what it says. It says Creator, which isn't necessarily God. It just means we have rights as a basic function of our humanity. The only time it refers to God is when it says nature's God. 'Cause Jefferson was a deist, you know. Again, when we did things your way, when rights came from God, we ended up with divine right of kings, which is the whole goddamn reason why people put up with subjugation for millennia. And that's why your psycho book says in Romans, and yes, I'm gonna read it out again because you people have no excuse for this. Let every soul be subject to the governing authorities, for there is no authority except from God, and the authorities that exist are appointed by God. Therefore, whoever resists the authority resists the ordinance of God, and those who resist will bring judgment on themselves. For rulers are not a terror to good works, but to evil. Do you want to be unafraid of the authority? Do what is good, and you will have praise from the same. For he is God's minister to you for good. But if you do evil, be afraid, for he does not bear the sword in vain. For he is God's minister, an avenger to execute wrath on him who practices evil. Therefore you must be subject, not only because of wrath, but also for conscience sake. For because of this you also pay taxes, for they are God's ministers, attending continually to this very thing. Render therefore to all their due, taxes to whom taxes are due, customs to whom customs, fear to whom fear, honor to whom honor. Our country was founded on the complete and total rejection of all that.
And by the way, it's true that according to some statistics,
way to cite your sources there, Knowles.
You see people becoming less and less religious, or they're leaving some churches that, frankly, I think left the true church a long, long time ago.
Yep, the no True Scotsman fallacy. Not only do you have to be religious, you have to believe his religion. And not only do you have to believe his religion, but be a member of his denomination.
I think that the secularism and the libertinism and the live and you do you.
This is hilarious! He can't even say it properly! It's live and let live, something your religion has always been against. But again, it's not only a founding principle of this country, it's what brought humanity out of the darkness, a darkness you would give us a violent shove back into.
The hippies finally are coming over with the drugs. The hangover is setting in, and young people are looking at the destruction that was left in its wake.
And normal people are looking around saying, what destruction?
Now we have a declining life expectancy in the United States.
Lie, 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 lie! Life expectancy in the United States for 2024 is 79.25 years, an increase of 0.18% from 2023. That's an even bigger rate of increase than the previous 3 years, where it rose 0.08% for each year between 2020 and 2022, the year you made this video.
Because of deaths of despair, drug overdoses, suicides.
The suicide rate in the United States has been declining and is now down to where it was in 1950, and it's declining more for young people. I think this guy was taking advantage of a brief uptick during the COVID years, but it went right back down after that.
We have a declining birth rate well below replacement at this point.
Another outright lie. The birth rate has been increasing and is 0.11% higher than it was last year. It's at about the same level it was in 1978.
We have families in complete disarray. I would say probably most millennials I know, and who knows about the Zoomers, have divorced parents.
Another outright lie. The divorce rate has dropped from 4 per 1,000 in the year 2000 to 2.4 in 2022.
That's a very strange historical fact.
That's a very wrong historical fact.
People who are saying whatever we're doing right now is not working. Maybe it's time for a change. And maybe it's not enough just to spout platitudes about doing whatever you want.
And maybe it's not sending humanity back centuries to poverty, misery, and oppression.
Maybe I'd like a little leadership.
Of course, when he says leadership, he means his kind of leadership. Just like every statist. So thanks for watching. Please hit like and subscribe, leave a comment, and go to donate.bogosity.tv to keep me doing what I do. And check out all the great content here, like this video selected just for you.